got it.
I was wondering, how different is it working with Cal from Lion and David Coverdale from Whitesnake?
That's a really interesting question because Cal was really influenced by David. He was, I remember it's my first band, my first real kind of recording band was a band called Lion, and I got a call from the drummer, this guy Mark Edwards, that played with Yngwie and Steeler, and he goes, I want you to play guitar in this new band. We've got the singer, and he's like, you know, he's like very David Coverdale-ish, and it was like exactly what I was looking for. And Cal, it was great, man. He's an amazing guy, and he's a very dear friend. We went through a lot in the beginning together, and you know, slept on the floor together, all that stuff, you know. But broke and everything. But he turned me on to the early Whitesnake records. He had them, and you know, nobody really had known about stuff like Come and Get It and Love Hunter and Ready and Wheeling and all these records. And he had them all because he was a huge fan. And in other bands too, like early Thin Lizzy, I didn't really know about them as much. And like Johnny the Fox, that record. But yeah, so Cal kind of set me up to have a little bit more insight and be prepared for the gig with Whitesnake. That's cool. But to answer your original question, is kind of similar because he's so much like David. He almost kind of looks like David. And sometimes David will say something that reminds me, man, Cal used to say that same kind of thing, you know? It's just fate, I guess, I don't know.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
I was also wondering, with working with David, is that demanding?
It is. It's very demanding. I mean, he expects the best. He expects the best out of everybody. If you meet him, he would expect the best out of you too. He's like, he's very inspiring that way, which is great. And I worked with some other people that had kind of prepared me for that too. And I get the gig with Whitesnake, and it's like, okay, I know how to do this. You know, it's like you have to really dedicate your life to what you're working on. And for the past 8.5 years, it's been Whitesnake. But he's very demanding, but it's a good thing. I want to be pushed, you know. I want to be like, I want someone to like Ronnie used to push me. He would like, you know, it brings out the best in you.
Ronnie plays in the background.
Yeah.
2 minutes? 2 minutes? Go with your gear question, brother.
What made you change from Jackson to Gibson?
I think I just, you know, I found Jackson in the beginning because I liked Jackson in the beginning because it is a really high quality instrument, really well built, and I really liked the neck through stuff. And I saw them first with Randy Rhoads, who I'm a huge fan of, and so I got to California and I saw some guys around town that had Jacksons, and I'm like, okay, somebody's getting them, and they started making the Soloist, and so I loved that guitar because it was like very solid, well built, and it reminded me in a way of kind of like my first great guitar, which is a Les Paul, and but it was different. I was trying to, I don't know, I was experimenting, and I eventually started working with Jackson, and me and Grover became friends. And then Grover left the company. There was some business, you know, and he ended up selling the company. And I kind of like started looking at playing some other stuff more often. And I played some Fenders, and I've always had Les Pauls at home and for recording or whatever. But I started to do some gigs around the late '90s, and the Les Paul was just feeling good, you know. And then I started working with Ronnie, and I was using a Strat a lot for certain Rainbow things or whatever. But then I would use a Les Paul for some of the Sabbath stuff. And David was, you know, he was like, I really like that you're playing Les Paul. And that was when I joined the band. He said, I love that you're playing Les Pauls. And I said, I love them too. And when we got Red to play guitar, it was like he's playing more Strats, I'm playing Les Pauls, and together it works out really well. It's like we trade off each other very well, and the sound goes together good, you know. But I love Les Paul. I love all guitars. And my very first, as I was saying, my very first really great guitar was a Gold Top, and that's what I'm playing now, and it just feels right, you know.
Not you, Doug. Last question.